The iPhone 15 Ultra is going to be an absolutely insane upgrade, and I know the title of this video probably makes you think that I am insane because of the chaos going on at Apple right now that's going to lead to this awesome upgrade, but I'm going to explain everything in this video, and it all starts with this brand new report that just came out from The Information. The iPhone 14 Pro faced unprecedented setback leading to removal of new graphics processor. And here's where we get into the chaos that makes everything that's been happening over the last couple of years finally makes sense. The Information claimed that Apple engineers were too ambitious in adding new features to the graphics processor designed for the iPhone 14 Pro, including features like ray tracing. So basically, when Apple was testing out this brand new GPU design in the 14 Pro's A16 Bionic chip, they found that it was drawing too much power, impacting the device's battery life and thermal management. So they basically had to scrap it at the last moment and hastily pivot and revert largely back to the GPU from the A15 Bionic chip from last year's iPhone 13 lineup, and that's basically why we didn't see that big of a performance improvement. Specifically, you can look at our video where we compared the 14 Pro Max versus 13 Pro Max. Check out that difference. If I punch this really quickly into the calculator, you could see only 7% improvement in metal graphics score from the A15 to the A16 with the 5-core GPU. That is incredibly small for an Apple A series chip. But getting back to the article, this incident is reportedly unprecedented in Apple's chip design history, and it's responsible for why the iPhone 14 Pro shows only small improvements in graphics performance compared to leaps made by previous iPhone generations like I just showed you. And unfortunately, here's where the chaos comes in. The error resulted in Apple restructuring its graphics processor team and moving some managers away from the project, including the exit of key figures that apparently contributed to Apple's emergence as a chip design leader. That is so unfortunate, and I don't know if you've been seeing the recent reports over the last couple of years, but many people from Apple's chip team have been leaving. So basically, because of all of that, we are left with a stopgap A16 Bionic chip, and what that means is that it's essentially just the same chip that's refined, retuned, overclocked, and I can prove it to you right here. As you can see on GeekerOne's YouTube channel, we have an 8.1% performance improvement from the A15 to the A16 in terms of single core performance. But you know why that happened? Because they increased the clock speed by exactly 8.1%. Yes, all they needed to do was overclock the performance cores for that improvement. That's all they did. It's a stopgap. Now wait, I do have to take that back a little bit because the actual power draw improved quite a bit on the A16, and that's because of the 4nm process, which is essentially just enhanced 5nm. It's really not true 4nm, so they did do a good job with lowering the power usage of the A16 chip, which likely allowed them to be able to overclock it that much. Now, to prove it to you even further, check out their GFX Bench 5.0 GPU test, and as you can see, they have essentially the same graphics performance. And this host from GeekerOne literally says this is the first time in history of A-series processors that the GPU has not improved at all, especially in this GFX Bench test. So basically, the A16 is a stopgap chip, and the most worrying part about all of this, before I get into the silver lining, is the fact that the competition over on the Android side has a chance to catch up. But thankfully, even the new Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 doesn't get close to beating out the new A16 Bionic from Apple. As you can see, 2,500 to 2,600 points in 3D Mark's Wildlife Extreme compared to 3,310. And this is a test from Technic. And then this test, we actually have a battery drain test running multiple Antutu benchmark runs. And as you can see, the iPhone 14 Pro Max with the A16 Bionic only lost 17% battery life compared to 26 and 25 with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 and the 8 Plus Gen 1, so that's good news. So the A16 chip is thankfully still on top, even with all of the chaos and delays happening over at Apple with this stopgap A16 chip. It is still scoring higher than the competition. And now let's finally get into the silver lining for the iPhone 15 Ultra. The fact that Apple had all of that chaos and they had to delay the brand new GPU design at the last minute means that this new GPU that Apple worked on will likely debut on the brand new 3nm process node from TSMC with the A17 chip. So what this means is that we're not only gonna have huge gains from the new GPU design, but we're also gonna get huge gains from 3nm at the same time, combined into one chip generation improvement. But wait, it actually gets even better, because we're not only getting this brand new A17 chip, which is gonna be killer, but we're also getting a new redesign with a titanium chassis with curved rear edges on the iPhone 15 lineup. So we're basically getting that 3-year redesign that happened with the iPhone 12. It's now gonna happen with the iPhone 15 again. So that's gonna be a big deal. But even better, we're expecting USB-C ports on the iPhone 15 lineup as well, and maybe even much faster speeds for the 15 Pros. So I believe that this new iPhone 15 Ultra is gonna be a super cycle upgrade. It is gonna be amazing because we're not only getting a brand new design, we're finally getting USB-C, which people have been asking for years, and we're getting years of chip growth that has been stalled, finally getting unleashed with the A17 chip, and that's all happening at the same time in one major release. So I think the iPhone 15 Ultra is gonna be absolutely insane. And once again, it's all thanks to the chaos and delays over at Apple. We've got to thank them for that, and hopefully they're gonna have even more time to refine that new GPU since they had to delay it, make it even better in time for the A17. So if you disagree with anything in this video, let me know down in the comment section below. But if you enjoyed it, click the circle button to subscribe. And if you're looking for a new iPhone right now, you don't want to wait for the 15 Ultra, then use the YouTube product tagging feature below to check one out. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.